there is a dangerous heat wave baking the central United States. By Friday, it's expected to be over 100 degrees in a number of cities, 121 in Death Valley, California. Today, President Obama tweeted a warning to stay safe as it heats up.
From Minnesota to California, record high heat is expected to linger for days. 2016 is the hottest year ever recorded. Between January and June this year, temperatures were 2.4 degrees higher than in the late 19th century when they were first recorded. Around the world, Spain, France, and Germany have been sweltering in triple-digit temperatures for days. Baghdad hit 123 degrees yesterday, forcing the government to declare a holiday to keep people indoors. Hotter temperatures are causing bigger problems. This season, fires are more intense. Drought conditions are growing. This week, families are looking for any way to stay cool this summer.
My daughter doesn't want to put any clothes on, just her swimsuit.
But Jackson says rising temperatures will last way beyond the summer months.
We're shattering records. We're shattering high temperature records.
Already this summer, there have been several deaths related to the heat. Scott, that's why 16 states so far have issued heat advisories.
A leading Sydney girls' school is being investigated for political correctness. The Daily Telegraph is reporting today. Teachers at Cheltenham Girls High have been told to stop calling the students girls, ladies or women. Instead, they have to use gender-neutral terms, I guess, like, you know, good morning humans, female humans. Is this ridiculous, Ron?
Oh, look, boys are boys, girls are girls, and never the twain shall meet. Look, I'm against this blancmange of androgyny that we're trying to create in our society.
Now, a Melbourne primary school has banned hugging, and its students have been given instructions on different methods of showing affection. The principal at St Patrick's Primary School says that nothing in particular had caused the ban on hugging, but that the school needed to be cautious in this day and age.
Surely there cannot be something wrong with kids hugging each other. Is this PC gone mad, or is there some validity to this?
No, this is actually, it's more than PC gone mad. This is really sad. Like, this actually makes me really unhappy. I mean, this is something that we should be encouraging in schools. In fact, I asked my 8-year-old before I came on set what she thought of it, and she said it's so sad because people then can't show each other how much they love each other. You know, there are some things that need to be banned at school that are dangerous. Yeah. How showing affection in any form is dangerous, I have no idea.
Yeah. Is it the parents possibly going to the school and saying, listen, we don't want this to happen, or is the school just saying, we don't? Like, who's deciding?
It's hard to tell, but I think there is such a level of fear now about what's okay and what's not, and you know, what potentially can lead to any kind of, you know, litigious situation. And I know, for example, when there's episodes of bullying in school, the schools are getting involved. Schools have been sued for you know, episodes of bullying in schools or aggression in schools, and I think principals in particular are really scared. And so that's a climate of fear that we're being encouraged to, I guess, perpetuate.
It seems to me that Donald Trump, for all my endorsement is worth, is best placed to end the cancer of political correctness in this country.
Conservative and controversial Breitbart columnist Milo Yiannopoulos will need to find a new forum other than Twitter to post his thoughts from now on. He's reportedly been banned from the social media site for good. Yiannopoulos' Twitter account got shut down around 10 p.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday, not long after he fueled users to tweet incendiary and, in some cases, racist things at Ghostbusters actress Leslie Jones. Eventually, Jones fought back against the abuse, sometimes posting screenshots of the tweets she was getting. She also called on Twitter to do something about it, and as you can see, the company responded.
There is no room on Twitter for harassment or threats, and if it happens, we're here for you.
A spokesperson for Twitter said in a statement, people should be able to express diverse opinions and beliefs on Twitter, but no one deserves to be subjected to targeted abuse online, and our rules prohibit inciting or engaging in the targeted abuse or harassment of others. Despite his controversial tendencies, Yiannopoulos has a strong following from the far right, in large part due to his outspokenness against political correctness.
So I give it 20 minutes. The statistics for black incarceration are about to go up.
After the Twitter ban, he posted this photo to his Facebook account, which is still very much up and running. In another post, he said Twitter just declared war on free speech, and in the process, signed its own death warrant. The message to libertarians, conservatives, and anyone who loves mischief, irreverence, and fun is clear. You're not welcome anymore.
At the core of American values is unity. As toddlers, we learn the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm going to quote 7 words from the pledge. One nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Nothing justifies attacks on law enforcement. This was the message sent by President Obama in a 2-page open letter to law enforcement officers all over the country. That letter was published Tuesday in the wake of the deaths of 3 police officers from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and another 5 officers who were shot and killed in Dallas, Texas. The recent spate of violence directed against police officers is yet another sign of a tense divide between communities across the United States and the police officers that serve those communities. And while a solution to this fracture appears just beyond reach, the consensus remains that only dialogue will produce a positive change. According to records by the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund, there have been 32 police officer deaths so far in 2016, a 78% increase from last year alone. The recent attacks against officers in Dallas and Baton Rouge now adds to a perception of a war on cops. In turn, the number of applications to police departments has dropped by more than 90% in some cities, leading to a cycle of escalated crime. Unity, however, seems to outweigh any cynicism, at a local level at least. An outpour of support for the Dallas Police Department one week was followed by a cookout in Wichita, Kansas last Sunday. The event was hosted by both cops and Black Lives Matter activists. The question now is how to apply this formula for the rest of the country.
Pour 489 contre 26.
The decision to extend the state of emergency for another 6 months passed easily. Yet the night-long debate that preceded the vote was anything but that for the government. Expecting criticism from the opposition, Prime Minister Manuel Valls defended his record.
No government before, relying on a very large majority in Parliament, has done more to fight against terrorism.
The opposition disagrees. In the wake of the 3rd major terrorist attack in 18 months, the right has accused the government of failing to protect the French. During the debate, it called for tougher measures against Islamic radicals.
Mr. Prime Minister, you failed to protect the French population. It's about time you change your strategy.
People are angry that a dangerous man who should have been deported was able to commit such an atrocity in Nice.
The government initially planned to extend the state of emergency for 3 extra months. In the end, it accepted the opposition's call to stretch it by 6. The emergency measure allows border controls and increased transport security. It also gives police the right to conduct house searches at any time without a warrant. Critics say the measure has a limited effect on security, others that it violates citizens' rights.
The Islamic State militant group has released a video showing the man behind the bloody axe attack on a train in Germany. The claim has raised concerns Germany is now in the jihadi group's crosshairs.
2-minute-long video shows the 17-year-old wielding a knife and introducing himself as Mohammed Riyad. In it, he claims to be a soldier of the caliphate and vows to slaughter infidels, urging other Muslims to do the same.
In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, I am one of the soldiers of the caliphate, and I will carry out a martyrdom-seeking operation in Germany, and I will slaughter you with this knife and will cut your throat with axes.
German authorities say they found a hand-painted ISIS flag and a suicide letter among his belongings. The ISIS-affiliated news agency Amaq released a report right after the attack, claiming the attacker was one of its fighters. If the link is confirmed, the attack will be the first in Germany claimed by the Islamic State.
Germany warns of the growing threat of terrorist acts by lone wolves, similar to that carried out by a teenage refugee who attacked train passengers with an axe. Interior Minister Thomas de Maizière says Germany, like other parts of the EU, is in the target area of international terrorism. He described the situation as serious.
As anti-bomb officers investigated a suspicious man, Belgian police shut down part of central Brussels for more than 2 hours Wednesday. The man was seen with a wire hanging out of a winter coat. During the police operation, part of Brussels was brought to a standstill. As police set up a security perimeter, a nearby library was evacuated. After hours of investigation, Brussels police said the man was not a threat. He was a student researching radioactivity in the city.
100 soldiers ran another drill on Tuesday at Rio's Guanabara Bay to test security plans just 17 days before the Rio Games kick off. The drills began last week. They included a simulated anti-terrorism operation at a train station near one cluster of Olympic venues. Another drill at Maracana Stadium, which will host the opening ceremony. Security concerns have increased following the truck attack in France. In addition to the deployment of 85,000 police officers and soldiers, double the force used at the London Olympics.
Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has declared a national state of emergency for 3 months, which Turkey's constitution allows him to do, if you count the recent coup attempt as, quote, aimed at the destruction of the free democratic order.
So a lot of people have either been suspended, dismissed, or asked to resign in Turkey after the failed July 15th coup. More than 15,000 personnel were suspended at the Education Ministry, while almost 9,000 were suspended in the Interior Ministry. Almost 8,000 police officers were dismissed, and 6,000 soldiers were reportedly detained. A little under 3,000 judges and prosecutors were either detained or dismissed. More than 1,500 deans were asked to resign, 1,500 Turkish finance ministry employees were dismissed, and 614 gendarme soldiers were also dismissed. 492 religious affairs officials were dismissed. 393 family and social policy ministry employees were dismissed. 370 employees at the state-run TRT broadcast group are being investigated. 257 of the Prime Minister's own office staff were dismissed. 103 generals and admirals were detained. 100 personnel working at the National Intelligence Agency were suspended. 47 district governors were dismissed, and 30 provincial governors were dismissed. In all, it's almost 50,000. And there still might be more to come. Turkey says it's doing this to root out any pro-coup sentiment left in the government. Others have suggested Turkey's government already had these lists of people to get rid of prepared.
The recent airstrikes by the US and France in Syria have killed more than 100 civilians. That's according to Syria's foreign ministry, which has sent an official letter to the UN blaming the deaths on the US-led coalition.
Damascus sent 2 letters to the United Nations Secretary General and the President of the Security Council, in which it accused French warplanes of carrying out a, to quote, unjust massacre against civilians. It said that entire families were killed and their homes demolished. The incident has greatly worried Amnesty International, and from the photo and videos that Amnesty International has, it puts the figure at somewhere around 60 civilians killed. This is what the movement had to say.
The bombing of Al-Taqa may have resulted in the largest loss of civilian life by coalition operations in Syria. There must be a prompt, independent and transparent investigation to determine what happened, who was responsible and how to avoid further needless loss of civilian life.
South Korea is maintaining its high alert level as North Korea has forged ahead with another missile provocation. The chairman of the South Korean Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Lee Sun-jin, held an emergency meeting with his operations commander on Wednesday to gauge the possibility of abrupt small-scale attacks by North Korea, following the regime's latest provocation on Tuesday. The military said it discussed possible response measures against the North, as there is a high possibility Pyongyang could launch another provocation, possibly a 5th nuclear test or a submarine-launched ballistic missile test, around the joint drills between Seoul and Washington scheduled to take place next month. Pyongyang on Wednesday showed it was serious about engaging in possible attacks, confirming the ballistic missiles it lobbed into the EC were part of a drill aimed at preemptively taking out South Korean ports and airfields. North Korea said it purposely limited the firing range to simulate a nuclear attack, with Kim Jong-un at hand to provide field guidance to the drill.
China now is set to launch an offshore nuclear reactor in the South China Sea. Yes, we've been reporting the activities of China in the artificial islands there we've dubbed the Chinese Triangle, the buildup of military hardware anti-ship missile batteries, radar installations, runways, massive activity. Now, offshore nuclear reactors. This story comes to us courtesy of Reuters. They report that China aims to launch a series of offshore nuclear power platforms to promote development in the South China Sea.
Quand ils ont attaqué la synagogue rue de la Roquette, pour nous c'était du jamais vu. Et puis ensuite on a une petite fille de 6 ans, voilà, elle peut rentrer au CP ici, l'équivalent. Et voilà, une nouvelle vie commence.
And an incredible scene in South Carolina. Strangers coming together to rescue a driver trapped beneath his overturned car. The car was leaking gas, so they had to work very quickly. They managed to pull him free even before the paramedics arrived. He said he drove off the road after getting distracted.
The library book in the back, and it flipped up, and it distracted me. Oh my God!
You can see him there, a hand over his heart, visibly shaken, but he is okay. And I love what someone tweeted: God and fine American citizens were looking out for this fella. #America.